filed a civil lawsuit accusing the actor of former girlfriend Jonathan Major's former girlfriend has filed a civil lawsuit accusing the actor of escalating abuse as well as defamation. Grace Jabbari filed a suit in Manhattan federal court today, claiming Major subjected her to escalating incidents of physical and verbal abuse from 2021 to 23. This comes.
All right, guys, welcome to the broadcast. This is Dr. Kesha. Thank you so much for joining me. I actually put the wrong date, so I do apologize for that in advance. I put the wrong date for the live. I think I meant to set it for today, but it was set for tomorrow. And so yeah, so let's get into it. Let's get into it. Welcome to the broadcast. Shout out to those who are watching and those that are listening. Shout out to those who subscribe to the channel, who's been following this case like a G. Shout out to you, and you. Listen, we're not gonna just go along to get along. We're not going to be one of those people. We're not going to be fanboys and fangirls. We're not just going to be one of those people. We're not going to be people that jump on bandwagons. We're not going to do that. We're going to do our due diligence. And so I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. All right. What do you say? Jonathan Majors. Yeah. This is not a surprise. Absolutely. Absolutely. 1000%. 1000%. Yep. I saw that too. Welcome to the broadcast. What I would like to do today is take a deeper dive into what defamation is. I think most people hear that phrase, that term, and we just kind of we really don't understand what it means. And we just assume the worst. You know what I mean? People use that they use litigation as a weapon, as a tool. But those that know that, again, it doesn't matter what you put on there because it's a civil case. So like you can fabricate, you can be awfully creative, you know what I mean, with your complaint, and you won't be held accountable for the things that you are alleging, because at this point it's just alleged, even though it is a complaint. So all these things that we're about to share, I really want you to take it with a grain of salt. I hate to say that, but you really have to, because it is alleged. And the truth of the matter is that if you've been following this case, if you've really been following it and listening to it, you know that they did not prove their case. The city didn't prove their case. The DA did not prove his case. The prosecutors did not prove their case at all. And that's why they ended up splitting the baby, because they didn't prove their case. And so she really, truly doesn't have a leg to stand on. I think what she's trying to do is just gain support and sympathy by doing this. And then again, my question is, why are we, I mean, I'm trying to understand, like, what did you lose? Like, are you now blackballed from the industry because of your role, the role that you played by essentially being used by the prosecutor, as a puppet? I mean, are you now being blackballed from the industry because you've literally were used to take out their $1 million man? I mean, come on. Jonathan was being postured, to really be used, in the MCU. And now they're trying to figure out what direction they're going to go. And the role that she played, I'm not saying that she's insignificant as an individual, but in comparison to Jay Majors, you know what I mean? I mean, he has a much, much, much major, no pun intended, role to play in this $1 billion industry. So this is costing them money. It's costing them time. So I can even understand why they would blackball her at this point. I really would understand why they would do that, because again, they didn't prove their case. They used her, unfortunately, and now she's suffering the consequences. So we know what's happening here. You're right. No one is surprised. And that's a part of it. In my description, I wanted to add all these different words. You only have 100 characters to use, but no, we're not taken back by this. But what I would like to do is educate. I want to educate those that may watch this, those that may get access to this, on what a defamation is. And then I would like to walk through the actual filing just a little bit, not all. You're not gonna be with me on tonight for 2 hours. I just don't have 2 hours to give. But I will walk through it a little bit. We'll go through it together so that you can see it for yourself. In the description, you'll also see the link there, because I want people to do their due diligence. I don't want you to take my word for it. I don't want you to take the next YouTuber's word for it, or the next social media influencers' word for it, or anybody's words for it. You do your due diligence. You make up your own mind. You draw your own conclusion based on the information that has been presented. I kind of wish this case was televised. I really do feel like that if this case was televised, we really wouldn't be having too many conversations. I mean, we may be playing like, you know what I mean? Like behind the scenes quarterbacks, you know what I'm saying? And just kind of making commentary on what the oohs and the ahs of the moments. But no, if it was televised, we wouldn't even really be going through a whole lot of not, because most people would be like, this is a bunch of foolishness. I mean, let's be truthful. At the end of the day, it was a misdemeanor. Those of us that are grown-ups that understand the law at the basic level know that a misdemeanor equates to be a traffic ticket. Most of us have gotten misdemeanors in our lifetime. And I'm not making light of her feelings, because as a woman, I get it. Yo, her feelings are hurt. You're absolutely right. She's hurt, but hurt because, yeah, she's seeing him move forward. Absolutely. And confessing his love, like the old boy is shining, you know what I mean? He's glowing right now. Absolutely, right? So she's bitter. And listen, I'm not a bitter person. We just not meant to be. Let's move on. But unfortunately, not everybody can let go. You know what I mean? Not everybody can let go easily. So it's clearly our girl is scorned, right? And does she have legit reasons? Kind of, because he should have broke up with her, you know? I mean, so he's taking accountability. You know, I know they're saying that he's not, but let's be honest, he is. He is taking accountability, because he did say he did break her heart. Like, you know what I mean? So he's taking accountability. I mean, what more can I say? And so she like cut me a check. You already took his watch. The watch that she took? She took some other things that didn't belong to her. You know, go pawn that. That let that be your compensation. But at the end of the day, I think that she's doing the most. And again, she's going to further blackball herself because, you know, she's not only fighting against him, absolutely, right? She's fighting against the machine that's behind him. You know, I know they're trying to play it coy right now because of what the allegations were. And you know how it is in this dispensation, in this day and age. Everybody's like, you know, the women, all women, or believe all women. I'm a woman. And lies, like not all women tell the truth. Like, let's be real. Like, let's come out of the clouds and let's deal with reality. We know people lie. So no, we can't believe all people. We just can't. It doesn't matter what side of the town they're on, what race they are. It doesn't even matter if they're the alphabet people. It doesn't matter who they are. You can't believe everybody. We have to look at what has been presented as evidence, and then we decide where the truth lies. Yeah, and we go from there. All right. So enough of my commentary for now. The first thing that I would like to do is go into what is defamation, because like I said, most folks don't even know what defamation is, and they're hearing about this. Like you said, nobody's surprised at all. I kind of want to be taken off of the group text, to be honest, because I'm kind of tired of this. But at the same time, it's like I feel like there are more people against him for whatever the reason than for him in this situation, regardless of what was presented during the case. And a lot of it is being spent against him and more in her favor, which is a bunch of malarkey, if you ask me, especially if she's suing for defamation when this literal spin of the news media has been favoring her like the whole time, like from allegation on through the reporting, you know, of these so-called reporters while in session, while the court was in session. They're literally just taking bits and pieces of what was conveyed and spinning that in her favor. So it's kind of weird for her to even be going here. But, you know, again, for the sake of argument, let's go into it. All right. So what is defamation? What is a defamation lawsuit? All right. Let's go here. This is a great I think outline of what it is. This is Forbes.com. Go check it out. You know what? I forgot to put this in the comment section or the description. I'll make sure to put this as a link as well for sources. All right. So what is a defamation? Let's see. It says if you are harmed. Okay. So let's read this. Reading is fundamental. read. What is a defamation? Defamation. All right. If you are harmed by a false statement of fact. Okay. Was she harmed by a false statement? That's the question, right? Was she not? You could potentially bring a defamation lawsuit to recover compensation. Okay. That means that whatever said thing that was false, air quotes, affected you economically. It affected you in terms of job opportunities. It affected whatever relationships that were formed that could have potentially been lucrative. Okay. So now you have to prove, right? So again, this is just another thing, right, that we're having to now deal with. But she's going to have to prove her case. So I don't care how much the news tries to spin this, oh, yet another one, this is kind of how they're trying to present this. But at the end of the day, the judge is going to be listening for evidence that's going to prove that, number one, the statements that were made were false. And number two, okay, there was some monetary damages as a result of said statements. Okay. All right. So the defamation lawsuit is a civil suit. Okay. This is not criminal. As much as people are out to get him for some crazy reason, it's weird to me. This is not criminal. This is a civil suit that would allow you to obtain monetary damages for your losses. So it's pretty cool. They have a guide here, so we're moving on. What is a defamation lawsuit? Defamation refers to a false statement. Again, false, highlight, underline, you know what I mean? Put quotes under there, emboldened, presented as a fact made to a third party. Okay, so again, let's understand the framework. The false statement must first cause some type of actual damage. They're going to have to prove this in court. You know what I mean? They're going to have to prove it. Now, in Jonathan's case, oh yeah, 1000%. Like everything that was said from allegation, this is even before we even went to trial. He lost millions and millions of dollars. But we're going to focus on Jabbari's, Grace's filing, because we don't have Jonathan's as of yet. I think they're posturing themselves to do a countersuit, but as of right now, they haven't put forward one, because I think that they're waiting to see what the judge is going to do. All right. Now, I know there are some YouTubers. I do follow them. I shout them out. I think it was Dre Mack Show and Chillmonger. Shout out to my guys. I don't necessarily agree in the settling here. I just feel like get your second win, bro. Put on your gloves and do a Johnny Depp. You know what I'm saying? Go hit up his attorneys and go for it, because I'm sorry, he lost way too much to walk away. The only way that I would really walk away and be like, all right, you know what? I'm not even going to say nothing. I'm just going to let it go. The only way that I would do that is if the MCU comes to me and say, hey, you know what? I know you've been through a lot. We're not going to, even though we made it official that we've dropped you, we're really not going to drop you. Make some kind of side deal on paper that no one knows about, saying, no, we're going to continue on with, we're going to move forward with this, but we're going to give this thing time. We want this thing to settle. we want, again, the things to kind of go away. Right now, you're building up, you know what I'm saying? Your situation, you're starting to look favorable. You're looking good with you and Megan. Okay, let's just give it time. Go ahead and just let it go. Go ahead and settle this. We got you. We're not going to drop you. We're going to use you in the MCU. Let's move forward. That's the only way. That's the only way, right? That's the only way that I would say, all right, I'll let it go. But if they didn't tell me that and I'm fighting for my life still, sorry, move, continue. Let's go. Let's go. All right, so let's continue to move forward. So again, she's got to prove her case. All right. And again, the false statement must be caused by some type of actual damage. If it does, the victim of this falsity can pursue a defamation lawsuit in civil court to obtain monetary compensation for loss of economic opportunities, medical bills such as therapy or pain and suffering. In a defamation lawsuit, a plaintiff has the burden, the plaintiff have the burden to prove the elements of the offense. It's not for Jonathan to prove it, but the plaintiff. The defendant can avoid a liability by raising various defenses, including truth or opinion. So again, the burden of proof is on them. And that's the one thing. And again, it doesn't matter. And listen, it's honestly, I would keep it a buck if I was Jonathan. I mean, your business has already been thrown out there. We got all kinds of, people really looking, investigators really looking into your business, finding stuff out. I would just go ahead and just tell it like it is. Tell the truth. Like, I would just go ahead and tell the truth. And I would testify if I was him. If I could keep it together, I can remain calm and cool and collective, I would totally testify. I'm sorry. That Johnny Depp trial, I'm so glad that they really televised that, because most people believed Amber Heard. Most people believed her until the trial. So I honestly believe that if it is televised, and that's another opportunity to share your side of the story, because even during the ABC interview, right, when he began to talk and share, it was very favorable to most, even though some people dragged him and said some stuff and had some critiques. For the most part, because of his demeanor and the way that he shared, and he didn't really have any prior issues until this thing became a thing. Then people began to come out the woodwork. But prior to this thing, the issue between Jonathan and Grace, before this thing became to light, he didn't have any priors. Like, he had a very positive image. He's not on social media. Not many people knew a lot about him. You know what I mean? And so when he began to, again, even though, again, most people favored the interview on ABC. All right. So when people heard him speak his speech, tell his side, and basically, in my opinion, take accountability, no matter how they try to spin it and say that he did not, just because he doesn't know how she was injured. Most of us don't know. The jury don't even know. The prosecutors, no one knows but her how she was injured in the first place. Okay. So just because he didn't know how he was injured, like, that's not accepting accountability. That's just telling the truth. I don't know. No one knows. If we would have knew it, if it was proven, then this would be a whole nother story. Okay. So with that being said, the burden of proof is on her and her team. They have nothing. They're going to try to spin stuff. They're going to try to take stuff and flip it. They're going to try to lie. And another thing about defamation, especially for those of you all that had a chance to watch the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, court situation, it was a ball. It was a whole kiki. It was funny because she was lying. She was overacting. She got no sympathy because she wasn't authentic and real. But who got the favor of the people was Johnny Depp. So it didn't even matter that, he didn't really get the real compensation that he deserved because he was in Virginia, I believe. And so, there's certain states that have certain caps in terms of monetary awards. And so he did choose Virginia because of that, but it didn't matter. He just wanted to clear his name. Like, he literally just wanted it to clear his name so that he can be free to move forward in his craft. And I feel like if Jonathan's standing on business and he's like, I didn't do nothing. I promise you, I didn't touch her, like that. What they're saying is not true. Stand on business and then move forward. And hey, we're already in the fight, you're still fighting to get back everything that you lost. Let's continue to follow through. That's how I feel, because the burden of proof is on her. So let's go. I feel like that she has more in terms of financial resources to use to fight this, I think he should get Johnny Depp's attorneys. Their whole staff was like, that team did a phenomenal job defending Johnny Depp. And I don't think his current attorney has the background of defamation, because again, there's all different types of lawyers. And that's a whole nother thing that people need to understand. If someone does not have an expertise in defamation, please don't use that lawyer. I don't care how passionate they are, you know what I mean, about you and your case and how they want to fight for you. If they don't have that training, if they don't have that expertise, please do not choose them as an attorney. Look for an attorney who does have that expertise. So as much as Miss, Priya, as much as she, I feel like that she is passionate about fighting for him and great, and she wants to continue to, focus on the other case. Okay, cool. But I really do hope that he finds a great defamation attorney if he's going to move forward with this. Okay. So the burden of proof is on them. And again, they can avoid, just the liability by just raising, just basically disproving whatever's being said. Defamations can be hard to prove successfully. And in her case, I think it's going to be difficult because there's too many webs of lies. You know what I mean? They're going to use what was already, testified in the criminal court. They're going to use her words against her. I mean, to me, this is silly. I really do believe. But what she's trying to do is she's trying to get him within the suit. I believe that she wants him to pay for her attorney as well. So it's like, if she happens to win, which I don't believe she is, but if she doesn't win, she's going to be responsible for having to pay her attorney and the whole bit. So again, and on and on and on. And so it just begins to describe all these different types of defamation lawsuits. We have libel, which is the false statement in a written form, and false statements printed in books and newspapers. I think he should sue these news papers. I think he does. And these, once all this stuff is ruled completely, I'm talking about the criminal side is taken care of. If I was him, I would go ham on the media. I promise I would go ham when it comes to a defamation libel suit. And then there's slander, right? The slander refers to spoken defamation. All right. So we have, and this is where we come in as podcasters. That's why you have some of these. I think the most notable one is the Cardi B and what's her name? And Cardi B won because there was some slander. I forgot her name. It'll come to me. The winos. What's her name? She calls her crew the winos. I forgot her name, but it was she admitted in court that she lied to just get clicks and likes and subscribers and views. It was crazy. What's her name? I don't know. It's just slipping my mind. I can't remember. But in the case of the Cardi B, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be so mad because it's gonna come to me once I come off. But that case with the YouTuber, Cardi B won because she spoke all kinds of crazy stuff. So here it says slanders refers to spoken defamation, false statements of fact that made orally rather than written. And so here we have podcasters, text messages, oral statements, due to advancing technology, all this other stuff. That's why more YouTubers are being sued. So you really have to be careful. Even though people say allege, that doesn't, that doesn't save you from a defamation case. If you're telling something that to be false, or that can be perceived to be false information about someone. And most of us talk about people that are famous or infamous. So most folks have money that we're talking about. And most of us that are doing this may not have the money. May or may not have the money to really defend ourselves. So we really have to be careful. So it talks about the length of time. Then it talks about how you prove, how to prove in a defamation lawsuit. So again, we're talking about the defendant made a false statement of fact. The statement is communicated third party and etc. All right. And then it goes on to the per se's and the per quads and all these other stuff and the defenses and the compensation. Now, let me stop at compensation because with her, I'm trying to understand what again, the whole point of the defamation is proving that you've lost something as a result of something that was said that was false, right? So here it says victims of defamation who successfully prove their case can receive compensation for loss of earnings that they have already experienced due to reputable damages. Okay, so she has to prove that she lost earnings, loss of future earnings. Okay, she's got to prove that too. Loss of business and economic opportunities, pain and suffering. I'm sure she's going to cry me a river, So that part, she's probably going to be like, oh, so, whatever. I did get hurt, medical expenses, and etc. Okay, they're going to have to prove it. So I'm going to make sure I'm going to include this in the description so that people, you said Nikki, is that her name? Now I'm going to have to look it up because what is her name? Oh my gosh. It was her, it's at the tip of my tongue. Cardi B. Tasha K. That's her name. Tasha K. I didn't know it was going to eat at me. Okay, Tasha K. All right. So now we're going to go to our next presentation, which will be found in the Hollywood Reporter. Shout out to the Hollywood Reporter. Okay. So in this, which the link will be provided in the description, they have it outlined, right? And they also have, okay, an actual copy, which we're about to go to in just a moment, of the case filing. Okay, so that's what we're going to review in just a few moments. So shout out to the Hollywood Reporter, like serious, like they've actually provided the link or the actual PDF of the filing itself. So I'm trying to provide all this stuff because I really want us to really have access to this stuff because we're the consumers, we're the ones that's supporting either or, you know what I mean? In this matter. And I feel like we should know what's going on if we're going to make a judgment and the like. All right, so here's the actual complaint. Okay, so we have Grace Jabbari, the plaintiff. Again, the burden of proof is on her and on her attorney. This is United States District Court of Southern District of New York. Okay, case number, I think the case number is on the thing somewhere, versus Jonathan Majors. He's the defendant. All right, so his is more like, anything she say, we're going to debunk it. We're going to debunk it. Okay, now it says the plaintiff, and then we have who's representing her, Edwards Henderson. I think he supported someone in a high profile defamation before as well. But here are the allegations. Okay, so it says here, okay, the crime victim law firm, that's who's representing her. And then it says allegations as follows. Okay, nature of action. Number one, this is an action in the amount of excess $75,000, right? Exclusive of interest and cost that is within the jurisdictional limits of this court. So I think that's a base. I think she can get more, but if she wins, but that's just the base. At all times, materials are cause of actions. The plaintiff, Grace Jabbari, was a citizen of the United Kingdom. All right. So basically, they're describing what the allegations were. At all times, materials to cause of action. Defendant, J. Majors, resident, New York City. Now, I didn't know he was a resident of New York. Some people are like bi-coastal. Some people are in, California, New York, sometimes in Atlanta, New York, California, back and forth. But anywho, number 4, Grace and defendant Majors met in London. It gives the kind of backstory. August 2021 on the set of Marvel, on the Marvel movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, where Grace was working for the movement director as a movement coach for the series. All right, so that was her role. And obviously he was one of the stars of the movie. Grace is not the first person. Again, this is what she's alleging. But again, it's neither here nor there, really, to be honest, because it's really more about What did he do to you? And how were you affected by what was done or said in this case about you? So she's claiming that he had priors or whatever, whatever. All right, we're moving on. They're saying that basically they're trying to paint this case to be there's a pattern of abuse and all this other stuff. Now they're using the D word, domestic abuse, and they're going into some of the histories. I guess this is what's going to be discussed during the trial. And then, but here's the sad part about all of this. She's claiming prior abuse. She's claiming, let me see, history of domestic abuse. She's probably going to go more verbal than anything. Because, oh, it says, or physical. Here's the thing. She testified in court that he did not physically abuse her up until that incident that happened in the car that everyone saw on camera. That's what she testified in court. So like I said, this is going to be a very uphill battle for her to prove that all of a sudden there was some stuff, oh, I lied or whatever. I mean, it's like she's got to prove all this stuff. So physical, verbal, intimidation, I'm sure is going to be in there. They're going to try to probably have an expert come in and all this other stuff. All right. So again, with the laceration in the finger, child, nobody still don't know how she got all that stuff. I guess they're trying to, again, all the stuff that happened that transpired prior, but we don't even know how the judge is going to rule. So I think she's going to get a surprise, because the judge may throw everything out, to be honest, because again, they did not prove their case at all. And then you can read along here and here. And like I said, I'm not going to read it all in, verbatim, because you can see it. And for those that can read, you can read it for yourself. All right, we're moving on. Hold on. All this other stuff popping up. Again, so they're really riding on this whole domestic stuff. Again, there's no mention of the defamation part of it. Here it says in 12, they're just pretty much, he abused me. Okay, but where's the complaint at that somebody said something that was false? Okay, this is where we need to get to. During the criminal trial against Majors, the theme of his defense was to blame his victim and to paint her as a liar. Okay, so this is the approach that his attorney decided to use. And again, he didn't say those words. His attorney is representing him, but she's suing essentially John Majors for what his attorney said. So it's like it's very similar to what happened to Johnny Depp, where his attorney was the one that was speaking on his behalf. Even though his attorney said what he said, they're saying it as if it was Depp's words. So they're trying to flip it like that in this case, that the representation is the spokesperson for Jonathan, or was the spokesperson for Jonathan. And so therefore, everything that she said out of her mouth, he's going to be held accountable. They're trying to hold him accountable for what his attorney said. And so in defense of Jonathan, they said that she lied. But here's the thing. All throughout her testimony during court, it was very contradictory. You know what I'm saying? All throughout, I mean, all they have to do is literally everything that this woman is going to try to say, to try to bring up, they literally have to just have her own words testify against herself. Like, everything. If again, y'all check out Kat's channel, she literally went through the deposition. She literally read through all of the testimony. Like, go check her out. Go check out Danny Does Law. Because again, they went through this stuff fine with a fine-tooth comb. Pam Entertainment, was it Dre Mack? I think he did some of that as well. He was a part of that. Chillmonger, some of those, just to name a few of people that literally walked through what actually was testified under oath. And her stuff was so contradictory to the point where the people got seasick and they had to split the baby when they presented the verdict, because they were so confused and they didn't know what to say. It's crazy. Here you go. What you say? But why didn't she mention this in court? Exactly. That's my point. Like, you're gonna have to prove, right, Wonder Woman? Okay. 780. Absolutely. Like, you're gonna have to prove this. The burden of proof is on you, sis. Like, make it make sense. Your opportunity to fry him was right at the criminal level. If you want the get back, that's the get back. And then from there, yes, you could get that monetary thing, but they could not prove their case. That is the point, sis. So much the point, I think, sis. But you know, then again, she is a she's a well, yeah, she was in New York at the time, but she's from Europe. But I feel you on that with the DA on her side. Yeah, I did a whole thing on you know, the corruption at the highest level with the DA, and the DA is on something. You know, when it comes to black men, I mean, profiling black men and kind of targeting them when it comes to these types of cases, these criminal cases. I mean, we've outlined that. Shout out to Lauren. We appreciate her reporting, again, showing all the inconsistencies and all the corruption that is happening in New York, especially with this particular DA, and all the stuff that he's done to other cases like it with black males, targeting them and kind of building a case against them that end up, you know, coming to naught. I think the other gentleman settled was the basketball player. I forgot his name, because he just wanted out. And that's what most people do. Now, could you imagine? These are high profile people that are saying, okay, I'm going to settle. I'm going to take the plea. You know, if you're think about those that don't have the resources, think about people that are not high profile. I think it was Pam Entertainment that said, what about the minors, not the majors of most people? You know what I'm saying? The regular everyday Joe, you know, that can't fight these cases, these lies that are being pinned on them. They don't have the resources. They don't have the right type of representation in terms of an attorney, legal situation. They're going to settle. More than likely, they're going to probably do the time because they don't have the right type of representation. So here, Jonathan Major has a good attorney, has the money, and look how they're hemming him up. You know, this is crazy, right? Absolutely crazy. But again, the burden is the proof is on them. So again, all these lies, pretty little lies. Now, did Jonathan give her a script and have his attorney say all these things? Of course, she tried to sound poetic, but the truth of the matter is that she did, her words were definitely um you know, being used against her in the sense of, it was, you know, the stuff that she was sharing just did not make sense. And none of us can make sense of the things that were shared, because we're still trying to figure out how she got injured. That was not made plain. They did not make their case at all. So she's here alleging that due to all of these things and all the reportings and all this other stuff. And here it's funny, she says, and he participated in an exclusive interview on ABC News, which, by the way, was the first time he ever literally said something. Like, this whole time, he just said he's keeping the faith. You know what I'm saying? Every time somebody caught him walking to court and walking to his car, he's literally like, I'm trusting and believing in God. I'm keeping the faith. And now, when he sits down with ABC and he finally is asked a question, and God forbid, he tells them that he doesn't know what happened to her. And here they're trying to flip it again. Like I said, when it comes to these defamations and these allegations, they can be elaborate because they still won't be they won't be held accountable of what they're even saying in this particular action suit. All the stuff that she's saying and she's alleging, because it's alleged, he can't even sue her for the things that she's saying in this document. That's the crazy part about it. So she can say whatever she wants to say. It can be false. It can be wrong. It's two left shoes. It doesn't even matter. Like, she's still not going to be held accountable for her foolishness. And that's the weird thing about these types of cases. You know what I mean? Because you can say anything and you can kind of get away with it. The only thing is, like, they just going to make a decision whether they believe you or not based on the evidence that's been presented. If they say they don't believe you, you lose the case and you get to move forward with your life. It is insane. All right. So he basically based on her, he's doubled down saying that she's lying. He didn't say that. He said he never laid hands on a woman. So his hands on a woman. Like, this is just ridiculous. Um, and the information in regards to the courts are moving on. Now, here's the factual background that they're alleging and all this other stuff. Again, how they met, who cares? Who cares? Now, what's funny is here is they fell in love. Who cares? Like, seriously, who cares? So, all the background stuff, according to her, is here. Okay. And I honestly read it in your own time. I'm really not interested. Um, yeah. So basically, she's just sharing what her side of the story is in regards to their relationship, and then again, the text message is coming up. This is number 31. So this is 23 pages. I'm not even going to go through all. I'm not even going to hold y'all. I'm really not. I know there are people that literally are reading through everything. I'm just not. Again, she's going to contradict herself because she's saying that the abuse continues in New York. Well, you said it happens for the first time in New York. Now she's saying the abuse continues, and now she's describing in her words, you know, what the situation was. And funny thing is, it said March 23, 2023. I'm sorry, March 25th, 2023. Majors was arrested, charged with intentional assault to the third degree and reckless assault to the third degree, and aggravated harassment a second degree, and attempt to assault third degree, and harassment a second degree. Now, mind you, they dropped a lot of these, right? So again, it doesn't matter how much you try to trump up this particular thing, and this is how the news play games, because they're well aware of how defamations work, because they're always sued. There's always a potential that they can be sued, so they know how it works. So they're playing a game with y'all. So if you're hearing how these news outlets are reporting these things as if they don't understand how defamations work, it doesn't matter what she puts in this. It doesn't matter what she puts in this. They have to prove it. It doesn't make it correct. It doesn't make it accurate. It doesn't make it factual. She can say whatever she wants to say. She's got to prove it. All right. And so, yeah. So, yeah, there were these previous things, but they were dropped because, they made a lot of assumptions in the beginning. And that's why Jonathan Majors, low key, should really have a case against the NYPD as well, because when they came to his home, they arrested him and put charges on him that were not even accurate at all. That they eventually had to drop. Remember the whole choke you thing? I really do again hope that he pursues these things with all of his counter. You know what I mean? Defamations with all of these news, as well as the NYPD and all of everything. I really do hope. So now here it's interesting because number 49 says that the district attorney's office invited the NYPD detective Ronnie to review body-worn cam video of underlying criminal cases against Majors. And the funny thing about it is that the audio, again, for those that have been following the case, wasn't allowed to be played because there was some stuff that was said, I believe, that would incriminate the NYPD officers that came to his home. I don't believe when they came to his home that they thought it was his home. They may not have recognized him. All right. They probably thought it was her home. And they probably thought, considering how it looks, the optics, that he did harm her in that moment, like in their home. So I think some assumptions were made and some things that were said. So that's why they probably did not even permit the audio to be played during the criminal case, because, they didn't want to, paint the NYPD in a negative light. But I really do hope to God that he sues them too. All right. So anywho, again, she's telling her story, which is a bunch of foolishness, and read it for yourself. It's annoying to me. It really truly is annoying to me, because this, if you literally had to compare and contrast all the stuff that was reported or was testified in court versus the stuff that she's putting on this particular complaint, it's a bunch of hogwash. Now, again, no one knows how she fractured her middle finger and all this other stuff. She claimed that he hit her in the face. No, she says in the car, you hit her in the face and twisted her arm behind her back and fractured her middle finger. And then Major said it didn't happen. I don't know. I know I did not place my hands and strike that woman. It never happened. So that was his testimony. So they're claiming he lied, basically. On and on and on. Now I guess they're citing or quoting Priya's statements that she made to some news outlets regarding the situation. Yeah. And so now they're trying to, again, hold him accountable for what his attorney said. In this case, she's saying, I don't give a boop. The idea that I shall coddle Jabbari's feelings, like suggesting I should coddle the woman who accused Emmett Till. So basically, I guess she's offended that she's being compared to the woman that gave false allegations about Emmett Till. So, all right. So again, this is the information. I don't want to hold you. I'm really truly not trying to hold y'all long, long, long. But the link, the PDF link will be in the description. I'm gonna read some of you all's comments in just a moment, and all the links of everything so that you guys can go check it out for yourself. And for those of you all that are YouTubers, you can jump on this and you can use the references. Not a problem. All right. Not a problem. Then he said, then again, she is absolutely. She never said anything negative about her during that interview. Yeah, he didn't. He really truly didn't. He again, we went through what a defamation was, right? Again, intention, intent. If he was simply stating, listen, I didn't do that, that's not defamation. By definition, it's not. She should have shared her side in court. If not, then this is a deliberate planned, just like the recordings. Absolutely. 1000%. It seems like that she's definitely showing her intention, right? Because if you're not trying to do something mean or evil to someone, then why are you? I mean, I get, if you feel like if she's a legitimately abused individual, and you're trying to keep receipts and records on build a case on, because you're afraid of getting out the situation and blah, blah, blah. But, she doesn't have that type of situation at all. You said, I hope Jonathan Lawyers releases her suicide texts and voice messages. I really do hope so as well. Especially all the texting that she did. For those of you all that don't know, like, though they said that they found her in the closet, half naked, and they said that she was knocked out or whatever. She wasn't. She wasn't. It was proven based on testimonies, based on based on the text messages, because she was texting her best friend in England. During that time, she was telling her that Jonathan just came in the house and all this other stuff. She was texting to her friend while he was trying to enter into the closet, because she deliberately locked the closet. She texted him like a whole bunch of times to get him to come to the apartment. She didn't call the police or 911. Jonathan did, because she was pretending to be out, but she was not. She was literally texting her friend during that whole thing. And I believe she was taken back when the police came in that space, because remember, in the last text messages that they had back and forth about calling the police because she got injured, even though we don't know the context of the injury, they probably had been, fooling around. It was fool la la. Maybe it was a sexual act or something, and she might have got injured on accident. But again, the whole optics of him being who he is and her going to a hospital saying, I'm injured. And if there's any type of involvement, if he's involved in this was a self-fulfilled prophecy. The whole situation literally was a self-fulfilled prophecy. That's why he didn't want to call the police in the first place, because he knew that historically it's a part of the fabric of our nation that Black people are going to automatically, especially Black males dealing with white women, are going to automatically be looked at as the one that is the abuser. So he knew that. Historically, we know that. I mean, hey, it is what it is. So he didn't want her to go to the police or whatever the case may be. But saying all that to say, she was surprised that he eventually ended up calling the police. But she wasn't knocked out. So all that, I hope all that comes out because it needs to. And you said from the hey, how you doing, bro? From the ABC interview, I only remember 2 times Jonathan said Grace's name. Exactly. One of which he said, I loved her. Hello. And was biting his lip on that. How is that defamation? Exactly. You're lying. You don't love me. Exactly. Like, girl, like, you don't, I mean, it's just ridiculous at this point. Like, exactly. This is taking me out of the group text. I'm ready to come out of group text because this is a bunch of foolishness. It's just eating up tax dollars and taking up a lot of unnecessary time. But the reason why I'm doing it is because I really do want more voices to really defend this situation because it's too many negative spins with people not really doing their due diligence. And I just don't like somebody being done that way. Honestly, and if it was me, I want somebody to defend me as well. You said this is all about getting money from Jonathan, 1000%. She's broke. Facts. Yeah, she probably is. She probably can get a job, especially in the entertainment, at the level that she was. I mean, hey, they met on the Ant-Man set. Like, do you think they're gonna be calling you to do some choreography? Probably not. Like, you literally were involved in taking out a mega star that is their cash cow. Like, they're probably not going to be checking for you to do any dance moves, sis, anytime soon. Like, again, we got to rethink this stuff. Now, had he literally hurt you for real, and this is legit, he really brought harm to you, then, hey, let the chips fall where they may. But unfortunately, that was not the situation here. You know what I mean? She lied on him and was used by the DA's office to try to bring down an innocent Black man. Now, he might have said some words to her months and months ago. They may have had a squabble and a fight. Yes, there was some toxicity in their relationship that came up. Yeah. But in the situation that was being brought to the forefront, that wasn't the case. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't the situation. All right. At all. So yeah, I believe that when he tried to get out of the relationship previously, I believe she probably tried to say, you know what, let me find some type of financial security because because that was her claim to fame. Remember when she met those people after she came out of the driver's car, chasing him down the streets of Manhattan. That was her calling card. I'm the girlfriend of Jonathan Majors. She told absolute strangers, I have his card. Who does that? So yeah, for sure. She was definitely, I believe, riding on the coattails of his fame. She probably thought her career would flourish after the trial. Yep. And it probably backfired, including seeing him happy and in love with a Black woman. Hello. I agree. I believe those doors shut, especially I'm talking about the Marvel money, honey. I mean, honey, that kind of money, you're going to have to go back to the theater, darling. Because now they're not going to hire you. It's a conflict of interest. You know what I mean? So when he got pulled, guess what? She had to suffer too, because listen, you know? So yeah, she kind of smite herself in all of this. She should probably have thought it through. I think if anything, she could have probably worked something out with him directly to say, hey, you know what, Jonathan, I know that we're not together anymore, but I'm really having a difficult time with all of this. Financially, I was so used and dependent on you. We were trying to build our life, just I believe he would have sent her something, broke her a band or 2 or 3, 10 to help her, but to sink him and to ruin his career and to get this man out of millions and millions of dollars of contracts and opportunities because of foolishness, child, you reaping what you sow. That's how I see it. And I'm still waiting on the proof of abuse. I'm still waiting on that. What do you say? Okay, she needs to go listen to You Ought to Know 20 Times Rage out alone in her room and call it a day. Yeah, she does need to get over this because it's an uphill battle for her. Like I just don't see, especially if she would have tried this maybe in Europe, maybe she would have had a little bit, because remember when Johnny Depp, and I think Johnny Depp tried to sue a news, I think it was a paper in Europe or something that was reporting uh, what you call it, statements. He tried to sue her, and then she came on as a witness on the behalf of the paper, testifying of whatever issues that they've had. I'm talking about Johnny Depp's trial with Amber Heard, and he ended up losing the one in Europe because they believed the woman. I think that she may have a better chance in Europe, but I think the only reason why she's choosing to come to New York is because even though she's claiming prior incidences before New York, now in this situation, and in the other one she didn't, but okay, it's because she's trying to get as much as she can get financially. There's a potential where she can probably get millions of dollars if she wins, but that is a definitely an iffy if, because I don't think she's going to win because she doesn't have enough evidence to really prove any of the stuff that she's saying, other than the words of his attorney and the stuff that she said. I mean, I don't know. It's freedom of speech over here, so I don't know if that can be necessarily a defamation. So I don't know how she's going to win this, but I really do hope. Thanks for your comments. I appreciate you guys for having a conversation with me regarding this. Yeah, I'm really interested in how this is going to play out, and I really do hope this is going to be televised. I really do hope that it does, because I don't trust these reporters, y'all. They don't report as they should. It's all about spin. It's about clickbait. So they're not going to tell the truth, and so that's why, or just report the facts as is. Just do that. Like, take the commentary. That's what we're here for. We're here to give our spin and commentary on stuff. But even with us, we're trying to show you what is in terms of the data. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to show you what is written. We're trying to refer you to some references so that you can read on your own. These news outlets are just outlandish with their reportings. I mean, some of the stuff was just crazy. Some of the stuff that they were saying, I mean, ridiculous. And then now here we are. And again, a lot of the stuff that was said previously, even down to the women coming out, they're trying to act like that's a new thing. These women, whatever testimonies that they got was in the initial filings. That there's nothing new that has come out since the case. So again, these news outlets are trying to act as if those women that came forth, the ones that came recently, as if that's a new thing, when it wasn't. That was just the two ladies that came that he dated in the past. They came up initially. They were trying to add them to, you know what I'm saying? Those that were to come in and do a character witness, but the judge didn't allow it in because he didn't see how it didn't make sense to what was currently happening at the time. And so that's why they released it again, to continue to defame his name and his character, because that stuff was in the initial filings, y'all. But again, if you don't do your due diligence, you wouldn't know that. And you're thinking, oh, these are more women that are coming forth in addition to Grace. You know what I mean? Now you're looking at Jonathan sideways again, and you're saying, oh, he's a bit abuser, when that's not the case. If the judge, read their testimonies and was like, no, we're not going to allow them. We're not going to permit them to testify. You know what I mean? He didn't see the correlation. I don't see the point in this, and didn't allow it to come in. So this is their way of saying, let's just release some more information about him that was allegedly shared, just to kind of taint his name further. Let me see. Let me highlight some more of your comments. Yeah, I think that she's being provoked. I mean, not to say they're not doing it on purpose, but I think she's definitely being annoyed by the love that is being shown between Jonathan and Megan. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, Wonder Woman 780 says, I can see a bunch of folks taking a field trip to New York. Oh, you know what? I'm in New York. So I know Danny came, I think she was flying back and forth to Florida, but depending on when this case is, I know I have some stuff on my calendar, but this time I think I might find myself in that courtroom too. I mean, real talk, because I'm sick of the foolishness. Let's cut out the middleman. I kind of want to be there for this because I'm ready to. Yeah, absolutely. I'm right in New York. I'm not in New York City. I'm like an hour some away, but I'm still way closer than most people. So I can easily jump on the train and go there and check it out for myself and report it, because I'm just so sick of this. Because you know what? I look at Jonathan. Jonathan's much younger than I am. So I'm not even looking, I'm not even like, I didn't really know who Jonathan was, to be honest, until after I started like seeing him on the MCU. And I'm like, wow, he's such a gifted actor. And then I went back to his old stuff, and you know what I mean? I'm like, wow, he's really gifted. And so other than that, I am not a super fan. To me, a right is right. That's why I'm at. I got two sons. So for me, is my why is right is right. And I really do feel like a lot of us can learn, you know what I mean, from this experience, and like beware. It's a cautionary tale, because he now knows he really made a poor decision, and really being connected to someone, you got too much to lose. She has absolutely nothing to lose. You said the videos are damaging to her. Real talk. Yeah, because we all saw her, yeah, hawking that man down, right? She defamed herself. I seriously though, I 1000% agree with you. Ain't no way in the world you can claim victim, victim, victim when you seem to be the one that's terrorizing him, sis. Real talk. Text messages and live and in color on the video. Absolutely. You said if the jury, if a jury has to decide this, if this goes to trial, they better do their darndest to get a black man of jury. Yeah, this time, absolutely, because they were really trying to be intentional about trying not to get black, not only black people, because I think there was a black woman on there, but you're right, a male. It's supposed to be a jury of your peers, right? So I think that they were trying to on the prosecutor's end, try not to choose. I think there was within that pool some black educated people, but they were trying deliberately not to choose people that were black and people that were educated, like people that had college degrees or they're pursuing certain things and certain. The more educated that you were and intelligent you seemed, they didn't want to pick you. You know what I'm saying? Because the real talk is like, listen, if I'm intelligent to know like this don't even make common sense. Like, even if you had common sense, you would be like side-eyeing this situation. So yes, I'm hoping that is the case too. That's why I'm really hoping that they push for this to be televised, because people will begin to see, because they have to describe the jury, you know what I mean, in terms of, the demographics, how many of this and that, a male, female of this ethnicity, of that, and the third. All that stuff has to be reported. And so if the nation is watching internationally, if we're watching, they're not going to be able to kind of, deceive us with this false reporting this time. So that's why I'm really hoping, y'all, that cameras get in that room, like real talk. Would you say, listen, I would have issues with no black male journey again? Yeah, for sure. I'm really do hoping that it is a jury of his peers, including males and black ones specifically, for sure. Because again, it doesn't matter, like, if you're doing your civic duty, whether they're black or whatever, you should be just focusing on what has been reported or what has been shared in terms of facts and data, and that should be your focus. But unfortunately, we're humans, and people have a tendency to relate to someone based upon race, culture, ethnicity, nationality, and etc., and also gender. So yes, you're right. So that's why they got to even the playing field with more testosterone, more masculine energy, so that he can have, at least they can have a fair conversation about the stuff that's being shared, and they can really look at the evidence that they're going to present. Because again, because it is a defamation and because it is a civil suit, just like the burden was on the prosecutors and the DA's office, the burden is still on them to prove that he did this, you know what I'm saying, that he did defame her in any way. And there's different type of defamation. So there's nothing, I think they're trying to get the written and the stuff that was said during the interview. So they're trying to double whammy him. I don't think it, I honestly, for those of us that have been following, if they present the case well, like I said, I think it really all depends on who's going to be on his side. I really do hope and pray that they get Johnny Depp's attorneys, like they were the bomb. I have to say they hit the ball out the park. They were I forgot her name, but they did a great job representing Johnny Depp. And some of the stuff that came out was pretty bad. I mean, Johnny Depp even though it was proven that, you know, Amber Heard hit him and she cut his finger off and stuff like that, he was verbally abusive. You know, I think the recordings, you know, him shouting and screaming and cussing her out and snapping out. I mean, so there was proof of some type of toxicity between the two. But I think despite of that, the jury did not believe Amber Heard. They did not believe her. And based upon the evidence that was presented, that's why Johnny Depp won and Amber Heard lost. Even though she was given some money, you know, I think it was more sympathy than anything else because she did lose something as a result. So they kind of like, but they favored him more. And so that was considered a win, you know, even though he didn't really get the money back that he lost. To me, for him, it was just about him trying to clear up his name. So shout out to him, like real talk, real talk. You said my sister was a part of the jury selection last month and said that a few white people vocally said they didn't feel comfortable being a jurist because there was no black males in the room to be chosen. She was shocked. Yeah, you know what? And that's very sad and very unfortunate. But shout out to those that didn't want to participate, like, because it is very uncomfortable to me. And this is just me, from the moment I heard about this, I felt like that it was a public lynching. I really did, because knowing what I know as a black woman, as a you know, a person of a certain age, I know what can happen when it comes to discrimination and when it comes to racial prejudice. I know what can happen. I was born in the 70s, early 70s, coming off of the civil rights movement. Okay. So, very close to that era. My mom, dad, obviously being raised in that era, grandparents, you know what I'm saying? Even in war situations of segregation, coming from that, we know what can go down. We know what can happen. My own personal experience of my friends and family when it comes to racism. So I 1000% understand this comment. And maybe some other people that have never walked in our shoes or never experienced it. Maybe you have friends that are black, or friends that are brown, where you were able to live maybe vicariously through them and have a sense of what goes on in their world. But it is a thing for, you know, people to be targeted because of their race and gender or whatever. It is a thing, you know, and I feel like this case, the way that it was built by the DA's office, was deliberately a target on his back. And they thought that it would be a slam dunk because they did not anticipate that there would be people like us, people like the Dannys of this world, the Cats of this world, the Dre Max of this world, the Chillmonger of this world, the Dr. Hines of this world, the Pam Entertainments of this world, Dr. Kesha, myself of this world, that would care enough, and others that would care enough to at least say, hey, you know what? Let's look at what has been presented and let's make a smart decision as to what's really going on in these courts, because I don't trust them. I'm sorry, most people of color don't trust the courts because unfortunately, justice is not blind when it comes to black and brown people. Let's be honest. There are way more black and brown folks in these prisons than any other group of people. So we know what time it is. And so when I saw what was happening to him and all the stuff that they were trying to frame against him, I was like, there is no way a black man that is in his right mind would touch a white woman in New York City. I'm talking about in Manhattan. I'm talking about in the district that he was literally in that moment, right where Chelsea. Heck no, he would put his hands on a white woman in public. I'm not saying that he would not do it in private. He certainly wouldn't do it in public. And the police precinct was right down the street. He lived in New York. He knew where he was. So there's no way. When I first heard that reporting, I was like, there's no way. That was my last week. This is before the evidence. This is before the trial. I'm like, there's no way. I live in New York. There's no way Jonathan did that. I didn't believe it. And then when everything came to the forefront, that's when I began to say, you know what, let me report on this too, because this is ridiculous. You know what I mean? They are literally doing a job on this brother. And I don't understand why. I really don't. I don't know whether this is, I don't know what this is. I don't know why he's going through this, but hopefully it makes him stronger. Which you said, that's where the defamation claim is coming in. Jonathan, oh, Grace Jabbari saw all of us out here talking and supporting JL and following closely through Danny and Kate getting transcripts. Yeah, you know, to be honest, like if they want to go there, yeah, maybe some of the podcasters, maybe some of us, you know, I mean, I'm not that prominent. I don't have the numbers. So I probably wouldn't be drawn into this. And I literally have like a few videos, I'll literally maybe 3, 4 the most. But mine has been more on the prosecutors and more on the media and on that side. But yeah, Danny and Kat, I mean, shout out to them. They really have been getting to the nitty gritty of this. And so, but again, you can't, that would not be textbook defamation like you stated, because if you're reading back somebody's own words that was testified in court, what are you really saying? Are you saying that you lied? Because that would be the only way that it would be a lie. Because if I'm reading a transcript and if I'm reviewing the case and if I'm just sharing what is reported, you're going to lose. You're going to mad lose. Save your money, time, energy, and efforts, and taxpayer dollars, by the way. That's what I'm saying. That's why you're not going to get another job in Hollywood, because this is a bunch of foolishness. I mean, literally, you're tainting this man further by these false allegations. They are false because of the what you said in trial. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy out here. You said one of the reporters claimed James was paying bloggers to chat. Yeah, right. You know, it's so funny. It's so funny, you know, again, we're chatting about it by pointing out the obvious, like make it make sense. We're not just, that's the funny thing about it, is as if only if we were just sharing our thoughts. You know what I mean? Only if we were like sharing our opinion and just writing for him just for no reason. But no, like some of us are intelligent enough to say, hey, you what? Let's go to the facts of the case. Hey, let's look at the let's look at the transcripts. Hey, let's talk about what's actually been reported. Let's go back to the videos and let's. So you can't say that people are being paid to review what has been shared. Like that's ridiculous. You know what I mean? And if that be the case, one can say that the district attorney paid the news outlets to spin these stories. You know what I mean? So the same energy can go back to those, especially because to me, it's more of a negative narrative that's being shared throughout the news sources than it is on our end, which will be more of a positive towards Jonathan. I mean, we're definitely the minority in all of this. I mean, and so in truth, you kind of like counteractive. It's almost like we're like a small percentage of people that are saying, hey, no, we're rooting for Jonathan, Grace Jabbari, and all the little names that they were calling her initially. That's a very, I mean, come on, that's not going to impact your career as like the news outlets that were reporting all the negative stuff against Jonathan that were literally causing him to lose millions and millions of dollars. Remember the army campaign, he lost millions of dollars. Everything was tabled in regards to Marble. What is it? The magazine Dreams movie that he completed, he finished. They didn't put it out yet because of this situation. I know that he's in the process of working, but you know, again, doors were slammed shut when he lost representation, right? His publicist quit. Like literally all these things were reported to prove that this man was negatively impacted by simply the allegations, her allegations that were reported by these news outlets. So yeah, I'm not in agreement with the other YouTubers that are telling Jonathan just to kind of settle. I really do feel like that he should fight this because I feel like he's lost too much to really walk away. And the only way that I would just be like, you know what, I'm just going to just let this go is if the MCU says, hey, we got you. Don't worry about it. We believe you, whatever, you know, on the side. And they say, hey, listen, we're going to put you in the next movie. Don't worry about it. We got a contract here. This is it. Go in and settle with her and let it be done. That's the only way that I would move forward because I'm getting my job back. That would be the only thing that mattered to me. And my career would be jump started and I can resume back as normal. That would be the only way. If they could make it right, then I would be willing to settle if I was her. But if none of those things happen, and everybody was still on the no go Jonathan tour, we going with that countersuit and we're going to move forward. And I'm going to make her eat crow. Sorry. And even if I have to shame myself in the process, then so be it. Listen, I'm gonna testify. Everything got to come out. The context of the text messages is gonna come out. All of that, everything's coming out to the forefront. Because at this point, I mean, especially with the defamation being a civil suit, there's no criminal that can happen to you. And plus, the judge is going to rule, you know what I mean? So let's find out what's going to happen there, because the judge may just say, you know what, let's just throw this out because they didn't prove their case. So that's my prayers. I'm really hoping that the judge is like, you know what, based on the evidence, based on, the information that was provided to the jury, they did not come to the proper conclusion. We're just going to throw this out. If that be the case, oh, I'm going ham. I'm getting everything that belongs to me. If I was him, I'm sorry. And if I was innocent as he claims to be, oh yeah, it's on and popping. Especially if I got all kind of receipts. Remember, they can probably use the audio of the police at this point, because it doesn't matter, because it's not a criminal case. So they can use the audio of the police. They can everything. They can counteract all that, like for real. It's like he needs to countersue 1,000%. That's what I'm saying. What are y'all talking about? The only way I'll settle if Marble says start making sense with that new contract with them dollars and cents. You know what I'm saying? Then in that situation, I'll be willing to say, all right, give her little coins, and move forward. But if everybody's on pause, I'm fighting for my life. 1,000%. 1,000. Yep. Airing everything. The text. Let me make the text make sense. This is what we were doing the night she got hurt. Bop, bop, bop. This is why I felt like, listen, I'm singing. I don't have nothing to lose. You know what I mean? At all. More to gain. I'm telling my truth. For real. Like real talk. For real. I'll be singing. You know what I'm saying? For sure. 1,000%. Yeah. This is crazy to me. It really is. And I really feel bad for him. But I'm happy that, the last situation I did highlight on a lighter note and a more of a positive side. And I'm going to bring this live to a close. I'm really happy that, when they went to the BET Awards and NAACP and all this stuff, I'm glad that they were celebrated. I'm glad that they felt seen. I'm glad that, you know what I'm saying? They were just, embraced and, loved on, because he needed that. We are human beings. Even if he made a mistake, like y'all, the most mistake, he could have accidentally did something. That's the most that it could have happened based on everything that was shown and the evidence that was proved, that was showed up in court. That's the most that could have happened in that moment. You know what I mean? And he's doing his work. He is in therapy and all this other stuff. It appears as if he's trying, you know what I mean, to make a change. Like, for real. Now, had he beat her to a pulp and senselessly, and she was knocked out of consciousness and broke arms and legs and limbs, then this would be a whole different type of conversation, or cussing her out every day and calling her all kind of BCs and EFGs, then this will be a different type of conversation. But based on the evidence that was shown, none of those things happened. The girl was what the clinicals, listen, this is a professional that said what she was, what she scored when it came to alcoholism. This was reported in trial, that she had a substance abuse problem. You know what I mean? This is not alleged. This is what the medical professional testified under oath. Those things are not defamation. You know what I'm saying? Like, no. So listen, all that stuff is going to come to the forefront, even down to her drug abuse. All that stuff is going to come out. I don't think she's ready for that. You said all that freaky stuff. Exactly. Honestly, that's what I believe. That's why she got hurt. He just didn't want her look. And he just didn't want to, he's trying to tell her he's a private person. This man is not even on social media. So everything to him is like he an introvert. Like, he trying to put his business out there. I get it. Like, I get it. So, but at the same time, you got to fight for your life. You know, this is you've went to school for this, you've made sacrifices for this, bro. This is your time. This was his season. To all of this stuff to be taken because of an incident of a situationship. Man, listen, I got to fight for my life. They just gonna have to know I'm a big freak. It's just so be it. You know what I mean? Bringing in my friend, right? So all her falling, all of that, right? That's what I'm saying. Look, I would be flying in her friends like he was flying in her friends for them to go party and go to concerts, fly them back in. You know what I mean? And all they're gonna say, well, he just paid them because he got money. It's his influence. Get out of here. These are people that you built relationships with. They flipping the script on you. Even her family, like they low key was saying she had problems. You know, so it's like this is ridiculous. Like, to be honest, again, in doing this, you're gonna bring yourself out to the forefront. And that's one of the things that we saw in the Amber Heard and the Johnny Depp defamation, is that when she was trying to shame him, she ended up exposing herself. So you can't, in these cases, when you're trying to shade someone else and bring their dirt out, ma'am and sir, you're going to end up bringing your stuff out too. So just be prepared for the dragging that's going to happen on social media, all these hashtags. Okay, on X, just be prepared for your business to be talked about all on these social media streets. Just be prepared for that, sis. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think you want this kind of work she's about to get when they do go to trial. Like, seriously. Yes. Testing the waters, right. Absolutely. So I don't think she's ready for the type of repercussions for doing this. All of them gonna be dragged. I need a spreadsheet of payment for all the blank. Exactly. 1000%. Yeah, like I this is not a good decision. I don't know who's advising her. They just want them coins. Them attorney, whoever's representing you, says, honey, they just want a reputation. You know what I'm saying? They just want to build up their career. They just want a name, and they just want them coins because somebody got to pay them. They're using you, sis. That's what I'm saying. Listen, Grace, you better tap out. Like, I don't know if you want this kind of work that's coming to you. I'm talking about through the social media. She gonna be dragged just like they drag Amber Heard to this day about the Amber Turd. Like, she's not gonna live that down. Like, all the stuff that came out to the open, she is not gonna live it down. That's what I'm saying. Even to this day, Amber Heard is not living down all the social media hype surrounding that defamation case. I don't think she wants that. I don't think she really wants that kind of energy. You said that's right. She could have did the same thing, been proactive, sought therapy, right? Trying to move on. We should be defined by our mistakes, right? People always have the capacity to change. Absolutely. Like, okay, we didn't work, Jonathan. It's clear we didn't work. Right? No spread. Yeah. I want to know. You said her attorney saw Marvel. Absolutely right. They just trying to use her. That she don't understand that she's being used as yet another pawn. She's being used. She doesn't have a strong case. She doesn't even have a case, let alone a strong one. They're just trying to get paid. Like, you have to see it for what it is. You don't have it. You're delusional. She's about Delulu. Go through. Listen, like I said, I'm going to include the PDF. Read it through. She is Delulu. For those of us that have literally spent hours, I'm talking about rehashing transcripts. The complaint that she's making, that she's filed, is delusional. None of these things, most of the stuff that she's claiming, other than the quotes from like the interviews and stuff like that, is just can be disproven. Yeah, you said I want spreadsheets of everything he paid for. Oh yeah, he took care of her. She had a soft life. And that's what she's mad about. She's mad about the soft life that she no longer has. You know what I mean? Not only is she mad for the beautiful black queen that is on his shoulders, right, on his arm, but she's also mad that she no longer has the soft life that she once did. But if she would have played her cards right, she could have walked away with some type of settlement and all this stuff would have been done. But again, when that's for people that are actually got a brain cell or two, but if you on drugs and you ain't fully thinking through You know what I mean? What you need to think through. Right. Yeah. What you say. I almost feel like this is a Dargo, right? Grace is doing, yeah, she's definitely flipping the script 1000%. Like, he is the one that was the victim in this abusive relationship. I'm not saying there were moments, just like with the Johnny Depp thing. Yeah, there were moments that he did, but you can't poke me. Remember, because she was recording him and stuff. It was just so ridiculous that Amber Heard, Johnny Depp, like, she literally, you could see her trying to record him. Trying to get evidence on him, and she's like provoking him to act out. And she's provoking him, and so you can see her trying to record it. Like, girl, it's like, you know what I mean? I mean, everybody just kind of rolled their eyes. Was like, oh, for real? Is this what we're doing? That's what I'm saying. It's like, this is the same old situation. Literally, it feels so reminiscent of what happened. That's why I'm so glad they televised it. And I really do hope and pray that they do this one so that we don't have to really go into the courts. We can just watch it, and then we can just play it and just do commentary. That'll save us all some money for trains and planes and buses. Okay, and car and gas. That'll save us some money. So that all we have to do is just sit back and just analyze what has been presented. That's what I'm hoping and praying, because this is ridiculous. But for sure, she had a soft life. 1000%. Yes, because is a man, is a particular black man. People say, yeah, they always say that. They always try to flip the script. Anyway, I'm glad that I caught your lie. I'm glad you did too. Don't forget to subscribe if you all haven't subscribed, okay? I appreciate you. Yeah, me too, child. Me too. But I really do hope he does too, because this is ridiculous, right? And that part, right? She's really making it difficult to get a job in Hollywood again. Yeah, for sure. Because again, he makes Marvel a lot of money. See? And I think that now they're in a situation because of this. Because remember, the whole universe, was being scripted around his character. So you messing up a whole lot of people's coins here, with this foolery. So yeah, so I'm hoping that if they can work something out, then work something out. But yeah, she's definitely not going to get any more work going forward. I doubt it very seriously. You know what I mean? It'll be something on a lesser scale, but it definitely won't be those types of checks. It may be a minute, I would say, because she's hot on the block, just like he's hot on the block. She made herself hot because she participated in these shenanigans, and that's exactly what they are, the DA's shenanigans. And so here we are, right here we are. So have a wonderful night. I appreciate you all for tuning in. I definitely did not mean to, but y'all, the conversation got good in the comment section. I appreciate you all for chiming in, and I'm looking forward to it. I just wanted to do this for him and for others like him, because I have brothers. I have 4 brothers, y'all. I have 2 sons. So listen, I'm an advocate for Black males in particular, Black and brown people in particular. Anyone that is the lesser. I'm definitely an advocate for those types of folks, because somebody needs advocacy from time to time, and so I'm definitely here for it. Again, if it was the other way around, I would point that out. But unfortunately, this situation has proven itself to be a farce and a whole bunch of foolishness, and a waste of taxpayers' dollars, unfortunately. So you all have a wonderful night, and hopefully you'll hear from me soon in regards to this or other content. Feel free to like this if you haven't already done so. Make a comment. What do you think about this? Do you agree, disagree? I really appreciate you for watching. Don't forget to share if you feel inclined, and or subscribe to the channels. All right. God bless you. Thank you again for tuning in. Until next time. Bye.